Hi crafty friends, it's Donna here, and today we're going to make one card two ways. For those of you that don't know me, I'm an Australian who's currently living in Tokyo, Japan. Whether you are a new friend or whether you've been with me from the very beginning, you are welcome here. Today's card features a stamp called Millie's Bouquet from Paper Rose Studio, and I'm going to colour this with my Copic markers. To begin with, I'm going to colour for you a couple of petals of these larger flowers. Because these are the main focus of the image, I'm going to put more work into these than some of the other elements. I'm going to be using a lot of flicking with my Copic markers, which is something I love to do, especially when I'm colouring hair, but today I'm going to do it on the petals. Rather than blending the colours, I'm going to let the individual flicks stay visible in the final product. I've written the colours of the markers that I'm using on my mat for you, and I hope you find that very helpful. The flower that I'm colouring first is the top flower. And so for this flower I've used almost no B97, but focused on the other colours. When it came to colouring the other two blue flowers that sat a little bit behind it, I've used more B7 and less of the B000. It's subtle, but if you look at the final cards, you can see the difference. I've left more real-time colouring in than usual, so that if you're interested in seeing the technique done at real speed, you can have a look at that. If you want to flick forward, the numbers of the markers that I used are going to slowly appear on my work mat. So if you want to flick forward and just catch the marker numbers, that's fine. While you watch, I'm going to give you some music that some of you will know quite well by now. It's a jazz waltz, composed by my son Darcy. Colouring a whole bouquet can be really time consuming, and so what I've done in this case is for the pink flowers, because they are not the main image, I'm going to colour them much more simply. I don't need every single part of this image to stand out equally. Having put the work into the blue flowers, these little pink blossoms can stay in the background. And the way that I've done that is to choose lighter colours and also to do less elaborate shading. Basically, I've used the light shade and coloured them as though they're one big block of colour. And then I'm just going in with a very slightly darker shade to shade out a little from each of the centres, and also to put a little bit of a darker colour where anything seems to be sitting behind another petal. And that's all I've done. For the leaves, it really depends on the size of the leaf as to how I've coloured it. Some of the bigger leaves, I've gone in with the full 4-shade colouring, especially because I've chosen brown, not green, so they are a little bit of a feature of this image. But the smaller the leaves, the less shading I've done, and the lighter the colours that I've chosen, so that these beautiful blue and pink flowers aren't surrounded by a great ring of dark brown. There are touches of the darkest colour in the biggest leaves, and then it fades away fairly naturally towards the edge of the image. Chosen a couple of sentiments from 2 different paper rose packs. One is called Black and White Sentiments, and the other Big Black and White Sentiments. I decided that I would like a fairly loose looking background, so I've spattered the light background with some blue watercolour paint and some white gouache, and the darker colour I've spattered with white gouache only. I've then cut out these 2 panels with the Stitched Rectangles USA die. Paper Rose makes these stitched rectangle dies in both Australian sizing and US sizing, but at the moment I'm trying to use up some paper that I have that is US size before I leave Japan, and so for these cards, US sizing it was. I'm just going to quickly layer these up. I've switched out the dark and the light background colours for each of the 2 cards, and you can see in the final cards what a difference that makes to the look of the card. Once again, I've got my trusty foam tape. Looks like that's going to run out just in time. And as always, there's a million gajillion small pieces all around the edge because I don't want the outside leaves collapsing or getting caught on anything as it comes in and out of the envelope. So I shall fast forward through all of this picking off of backgrounds and let you see the grand finale of just placing the image down on the card. As you can see, I craft with my window open, and once again I have things blowing around. There always seems to be a lot of sweeping to do once I've finished crafting, as most of my bits end up on the floor. If you've enjoyed these cards, feel free to give this video a thumbs up. If you'd like to click the subscribe button, you can find out what's going to happen next. Until next time, stay safe everybody. Bye for now.